Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse, and you are our wonderful Patreon patrons. Welcome to the Patreon bonus stories.
We met a bunch of these wonderful Patreons at the Cybertruck event and at the LA Auto Show. It was so great to spend some time with you guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
So remember that the code word is still Blade Runner because we're still in the midst of Cybertruck Blade Runner-ness.
So if you want to get in touch with us through email or Facebook, because they do allow for a little bit more sharing than the Patreon app, feel free to just send us a message, use Blade Runner in the subject line or the first thing that you write, and that way we know it's you.
All right, so there's some other news out there this week, although not much, I'll be honest. I think everyone kind of knew that this was not the week to release too much news. But Coldplay, the British band, you've heard of them, right?
Right, yes.
I think everyone's heard of them.
Yeah, I think you have to.
They said that they will not go on tour for their next new album. Chris Martin told the BBC, "We're not touring this album. We're taking time over the next year or two to work out how our tour can not only be sustainable, but how it can be actively beneficial. All of us have to work out the best way of doing our job to have a positive impact. Our next tour will be the best possible version of a tour like that environmentally. We would be disappointed if it's not carbon neutral. The hardest thing is the flying side of things. But for example, our dream is to have a show with no single-use plastic, to have it largely solar-powered. We've done a lot of big tours at this point. How do we turn it around so it's not so much taking as giving?" And so one way they figured out is to, instead of touring, they just played 2 gigs in Jordan, and they will be broadcast free on YouTube. And on November 25th, they'll be playing at the Natural History Museum in London, with all the proceeds going to the environmental law charity Client Earth. Wow. I mean, I love this because they're a huge band. Many other bands are going to follow their lead.
Right.
And if they stop touring, I think a lot of record companies and a lot of bands are going to go, hey, we should take a look at this too.
I think that this is the next evolution in rock and roll band transportation, right? Because it used to be like, we're in the van, man. And then it was like a tour bus. And then it went to the private jet. And now we're going from the private jet onto something new. And I think whatever that is, I hope it's Tesla semi-truck. I think that's definitely going to be involved.
Well, you know, I've looked at a lot of tour schedules over the years. And a lot of times you'll see a band, they'll do like 4 dates in the US, and then they'll be in Europe. And then they'll do America again. And then they'll be in Japan. And then they'll do America again. And they're flying all over the place. It's like, there is a way to do this. There's probably has to be some flying if you're a huge band like Coldplay. But you could just go around the world. So you could start, let's say in California, do all of your stuff using electric semi-trucks in the US. You could even go down to Latin America and stuff, fly over the pond to, Europe, do all of that. And now with Tesla supercharging, I think you could go all the way and do your Asian part of the tour with minimal flying.
Right. Well, and again, this is why we need, fully solar powered and electrically driven cruise ships. Because as soon as you have that, you just, all right. And the cruise, I don't know what it would be.
The Coldplay cruise.
Yeah, the 5-day cruise is going to be Coldplay every night.
How about that? No, just think about this for a second. Like, that's innovative. Like, having a bunch of bands on a cruise ship so that every night is a different band. And then when you get off, you're in a new country.
Right.
Like, wow. Awesome idea.
And you're ready to take your tour van and bus and all the stage stuff across to the other continents.
Or, I mean, like Coldplay just did. I mean, take advantage of the fact that YouTube lets your band be seen exactly the way you want. Like, I mean, they were shooting this beautifully. You should check this out. The link is down below. They're shooting this in Jordan, and they shot a concert at sunrise and a concert at sunset. And they get to control, like, they have a ring of cameras around them. And, like, it's beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It looks beautiful. And I don't know, when I go to a concert, unless I have just perfect seats, or they have a giant screen so that I can see that anyway, are you really getting the concert experience? Like, I like small concerts. I like, 2,000 seat places. But when you get to like 30,000 seat arenas.
No, you are getting the concert experience, but you're not really getting the live music experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. When it has to be done really well, like Taylor Swift, Billy Joel, like people that do it really, really well.
Right.
But otherwise, you're just kind of getting.
It's too big.
It's too big.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, with the internet that we have, like taking advantage of that, no matter what you do, whether you're a band or you're just a person.
Well, I want to speak to small bands. I've managed bands in the past, and they put so much energy into doing live gigs, which nowadays, unless you're lucky and the city you're in just happens to be awesome at having live venues, for the most part, the venues suck. People don't come out to see you anymore. If they do, it costs them a fortune and they don't come back to see you anymore.
Right.
So using the internet so that you can actually broadcast cheaply to your fans, you can put on live concerts over the internet. Like, hello, that makes so much more sense.
Right. Live
Charge
stream.
them for it.
Live stream, right?
Get Patreon, have them pay you to be a band, and like that would be so much more enjoyable.
Right.
I would think.
Exactly.
Let's talk about this. The Oxford Dictionary has now declared their word of the year for 2019 is
Climate emergency. And basically, this isn't just because they think it's important. It's because the use of the term has increased by 10,000% in 12 months, almost 11,000%.
Right. They said that basically last year, it was hardly used at all to put those two words together. Mainly it was health emergency. And now they're finding that climate emergency is being used 3 times more than the term health emergency.
Right.
Now, Collins Dictionary did a similar thing. Their 2019 word of the year was climate strike. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, awesome is a relative term.
No, right. It's awesome, meaning that it's bringing awareness to people that this is real.
Well, and it also speaks to how vocabulary plays into how we can talk about things.
Right.
That until we have the right verbiage, and I don't even know if climate emergency is the perfect verbiage for it. It definitely is true. But like, we need to really expand our vocabulary.
Well, for years it was global warming. I use it a lot almost by mistake because I've just been forced to, by overusing it. I just use it too much. It was just global warming. And it really should be words like emergency and strike because that's what we need to do to solve this. It's not a just slow problem we need to slowly solve. It's something we have to do immediately.
Right.
All right, this next one is not something I'm happy about. This is our senator, one of our senators from Massachusetts, who normally I agree with a lot of his policies, but on this one, I don't know. Is he out to lunch? I mean, take a look at this.
Thank you, Senator Tester. Senator Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we debate the future of fully self-driving cars, we also need to focus on the present rollout of driver assistance features that are actually driver replacement technologies for some of our most basic tasks on the road. For example, Tesla markets its autopilot system as driver assistance feature that allows a car to center itself in a lane and to offer speed-changing cruise control and self-park. To make sure drivers are still paying attention, Tesla requires them to keep their hands on the wheel while autopilot is active. Keep your hands on the wheel. However, according to a recent report on NBC Boston, Tesla drivers have identified a variety of tricks to make autopilot believe they are focused on the road even if they are literally asleep at the wheel. Alarmingly, you can go to YouTube right now and learn about some of these tricks. You can take a water bottle, take an orange, and put it right into the steering wheel, and then that tricks the system to believing that your hands are on the wheel. And then the car just drives as though it's a fully autonomous vehicle and not something that's just human helped in the driving. And the NBC Boston reported that one driver actually used these tricks and fell asleep at the wheel while their car drove 14 miles on autopilot with a water bottle in the steering wheel or with an orange in the steering wheel. That's not safe. Somebody's going to die because they can go to YouTube as a driver, find a way to do this, and then some innocent person on the street will wind up dead, or a driver in another car will wind up dead. So we can't entrust the lives of our drivers and everyone else on the road to a water bottle. And that's why I sent a letter to Tesla this week urging the company to fix the safety flaws that allow drivers to trick autopilot before any tragedies occur. Dr. Owens, these videos are on YouTube right now, so NHTSA must know what is happening as well. So
Let's put that letter in the record at this point.
I ask unanimous consent to do that.
Without objection.
So NHTSA must know what is happening if it's on YouTube. So tell me what NHTSA is doing, what you're telling Tesla, to make sure that these safety issues are fixed and that these cars don't wind up killing people.
Thank you, Senator Markey. It is unfortunate when drivers misuse their vehicles and engage in unsafe behaviors. This is the cause, as you know, of most serious crashes and fatalities in the United States.
So what are you telling Tesla to do in order to fix this defect that can easily circumvent what the safety precautions are supposed to be? What are you telling Tesla to do?
We are in close communication with Tesla on a variety of issues. We
No, on
received
this
a number
issue,
of complaints.
what are you telling, what is NHTSA telling Tesla to do on this issue to fix it so that this kind of circumvention of the safety procedures doesn't wind up with somebody dying because of the way in which drivers can now use this technology? What are you telling them?
Senator, I'd be happy to follow up with you on the specifics of this case. I will note that we've become aware.
So you have not. Have you had any conversations with Tesla?
Our technical staff has routine conversations with
On this
every
issue,
manufacturer.
on the issue of a water bottle able to take over a steering wheel and allow the driver just to go to sleep. Have you had that conversation?
I would have to get back to you on that
You don't.
particular question.
Well, I would urge you to do that very quickly, because Tesla should disable autopilot until it finds the problem, until it fixes the problem, until it can assure consumers who don't own that vehicle that they're safe on the roads or safe on the sidewalks from an accident occurring. Will you do that?
Yes, Senator, we will work with your staff, and we as I said, we're in communication with Tesla. I also
No,
note
I know
that
you're in. You're in touch. You're in touch with them. You're not in touch with them on this issue. That's my problem. This is something that you can go to YouTube right now, which is what I did, to pull down this picture of how you can use a water bottle to take over a vehicle.
I will make sure that we're in touch with Tesla about this specific issue.
Okay. Well, if you tell them to fix it or just disable that technology, that would be my advice to you. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so that's Senator Ed Markey, and he's telling NHTSA that
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
You
Check
have
out
to-
this YouTube.
You have to fix it.
You can stick oranges in the
You
wheel.
can go on YouTube right now. Why aren't you fixing this problem?
Okay, so-
well, it's because this problem cropped up over a year ago. Well over a year
yeah,
ago.
I mean,
Almost
so
2 years
the
ago.
orange problem, that was January of 2018, Senator Markey.
Right. And this is the end of November.
And get this, Senator, I don't know why the NHTSA guy didn't tell him this, but Tesla did take care of that problem. They changed their software. You can no longer use an orange. It doesn't work.
Right, because it knows how much force is being applied, and if the force remains exactly the same,
Right.
time and time again, it's going to get wise to it, which is really, really smart.
So the water bottle problem, that was from March of 2018. So, I don't know if his staffers are playing a trick on him or something, but like to point out something this old that has already been dealt with. Now, maybe he thinks that like a normal car company would take him years to deal with that problem. Tesla dealt with it as soon as it came out.
Right.
There was
It
even
was really a matter of weeks.
There was even products that came out, that magnet thing you could put on the wheel. And when Tesla learned about it, they fixed it.
Right.
So stop making it sound like there's a problem there. You know what the problem is, Senator?
Is this guy's uninformed?
Not only
this
that,
guy
but-
thinks that YouTube is just like, oh, this is the latest to date stuff. This is YouTube. And like, you got to check the date, buddy.
But also, the problem is texting. Okay?
Right.
People who are texting in their cars, they're the problem because by some estimates, 40% of people text in their car at any given time.
And it's a huge cause of accidents.
Huge.
And he's not talking about this. He keeps saying like, what is Tesla going to do about this? What's Ford going to do? What's GM going to do? What's VW going to do about people? What's Hyundai and Honda going to do about people texting in their cars?
Right.
There, at one point, I believe, was legislation to basically prevent your phone from texting.
Right.
And there was so much pushback. People were like, I want to text in my car. That they just were like, whatever, we'll allow you to do
Your
it.
phone knows that it's going 40 miles an hour.
Right. There are some apps that you'll open. It'll be like, you're driving. You shouldn't be using me. And
Your
you'd
phone
just
could
be like, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're really that hell-bent on saving people's lives, Senator, pass a law that makes it so that when your phone is going over a certain speed, the texting is disabled.
Right. If you care so much.
Right.
Right. But of course, it's
I don't know, just the way he kept nailing the guy, like, well, so you're going to talk to Tesla about this problem?
Right.
It's like the guy was basically saying he was
yeah,
trying to make you look bad. He was trying to say, we've already fixed the problem, but I don't want to say it publicly, make you look bad.
Should have said that.
He really
I mean,
should have.
it would have really just shown
But anyway, write to him. He doesn't have to be your senator to write to him.
Right.
Write to him.
We're
We've
gonna
got
write
the
to
link
him.
right below
We're
here.
gonna call
Contact him, tweet him, and just say to him, Senator,
They've already fixed this problem.
already fixed it. Move on. I'd like to talk about our trip. We just got back from the LA Auto Show and the Cybertruck event, and I thought we should share some of the things that we don't, maybe publicly share as much with the rest of the
Yeah,
audience.
that was a pretty hellish trip.
You were sick.
I was so
You were
sick.
so.
I don't know what I had.
The night before we left, Jesse was so sick he could barely answer the phone. And I was worried. I was like, well, I'm going to have to do the trip alone, which is, I was really worried about because I knew that shooting live stream by myself, which I've done before, is not great. You can't get two angles. You can't work together. So I was, I wasn't looking forward to it, but he was sick. And then that morning that we're going to leave at 5:30 in the morning for the, on Wednesday. And Jesse was like, I think I can make it.
Right. I didn't think that I had gotten better. I want you all to realize that I was putting the channel above my own
he
health
did.
and needs.
He did.
And that whole Wednesday,
I don't think
that
he remembers
6-hour flight, I was on so much Advil and I took a sleeping aid, and that flight was a blur to me. And then all of Wednesday, I was like shut up in the hotel room.
So he didn't go to the LA Auto Show that day. I went and shot some stuff and got in some of the cars and stuff for an upcoming episode. You'll see. But yeah, so he just
lost.
rested. And then Thursday, luckily, because I went back out to do some stuff, and then you reached out to me and you're like, I think I'm feeling well enough to venture out. And luckily you showed up. I guess you're just doped up, basically. First of all, I think you were getting better, but also you were doped up. I don't know what it was.
I was.
And also
just,
adrenaline, maybe, if you mix those three.
Right.
But anyway, we were a team, and I think we did as good as we could have done.
Yes.
Now, here's the other part of this. We had no way for him to get in yet.
No, we didn't have an invite.
We had heard at the last minute from Tesla that we got one press pass, and we couldn't get two.
But before that, we had not gotten an invite.
No
invite.
No.
We weren't on the list.
Now, if it weren't for our producer, we wouldn't have gotten in at all for Jesse. I don't think at all.
No.
So luckily we got him in, but I got to tell you, it was just up until the last second we didn't know, and that made it so much harder.
Right. It's probably why I got sick. We were so stressed out for the whole last week and the week before. As soon as the invites went out and we didn't get any, we were immediately stressed out because it was like, what happened?
We thought at the beginning that maybe we were being singled out because the year, when we went to the Model Y event, we had this like rod up here with a camera on it. Right. And we thought maybe, oh gosh, maybe we pissed someone off. I think what happened was, what we've heard now, we've kind of pieced it together, is that Tesla sent out a whole bunch of invites, mainly to Tesla Owners Club members.
Yep.
And it seems like two of every Owners Club members got an invite, which is great. I love the Owners Clubs.
Right.
But I think they might have thought that there was going to be a high rate of not going.
Right. But a lot of people wanted to go because Cybertruck
is the event.
The event of the year.
So basically within like half an hour they were sold out. And so I think, whoever arranged that kind of screwed up because then they couldn't get through the rest of the list. And we heard a lot of people didn't get invited. So that was lousy. Also, the media list was dumb because there's a lot of YouTubers who were there, like Joe from Answers with Joe, who didn't get on the list, and he's a huge YouTuber,
right?
And he loves Tesla, and he owns a Tesla. And it's like, aren't those the kind of people, Tesla, that you'd like to invite who are going to be really good at reporting on this?
Right. And
then when the media does get in, so I took the media pass. I'm in the worst spot to shoot the event. You know that if you watch my live stream. I'm stuck in the back of the room and I can't see, right? I'm just holding the camera up. Jesse luckily, found a great spot to see it from. But shouldn't the media have a good spot to see it from? In fact, shouldn't the media get in earlier in the day so that we can shoot stuff, ask questions,
be in your own booth,
have
your own area.
No music playing? Because let me tell you, having the same song play 900 times really loud makes it hard for us to do our job.
To think.
And so then we could have gotten out of the way and let everyone else who was attending it in the party have fun and actually drive the truck. Because what happened was, after they broke the window, they had to replace the window. Now, luckily, they had a piece of replacement glass. That's amazing. But it took 45 minutes for them to do that. Meanwhile, there's just a crush of people waiting to take the test ride. They only let 4 people test ride it at once, at a time. And it takes 2 minutes to make the route. So do the math. That's going to take all night. And then you've got VIPs, and you've got media, and then you've got the rest of the crowd.
Right.
So a lot of people went home at midnight without having a chance to drive in the truck.
After having waited. And it's like, it's just
And you're
so-
tired. I mean, you've been
know.
on your feet for hours because we were there at 4:00.
Right. And we were standing the whole time.
So I mean, we were there for 8 hours, and I'm sorry for all the people who didn't get a chance, and that's why we did the live streams to show you guys like what it's like in the truck. It was amazing. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
it was so cool
Yeah.
because I thought maybe they were not going to do it. I figured if they only have one truck, how can they do it? And
they
why?
got so many people in.
And now I understand why they only had one truck. I thought like, why don't they have 10? It's because
They just built one.
They just built one
Right,
truck.
They just built it.
I can't even imagine letting people ride in it if I had just built one truck.
I know. Well,
It's
a good thing it was made out of stainless
it's
steel.
a testament to the Tesla engineers.
Yeah.
Who we heard many of them stayed till midnight, night after night after night to get this thing done.
Mm-hmm.
Because as of 2 weeks before the event, there was no truck.
Right.
Can you imagine that for a second? One of the most innovative things on the planet with all these new innovations, it wasn't like they were building something that they knew how to build. It was from scratch.
Right. I mean, they had like a clay model of it, and they just built it, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, and hey, I understand that it may not be your cup of tea, and that's the great part about opinions is that they're your opinions, and nobody can force an opinion upon you. That's the great part. The other thing though is that you can't force your opinion on anyone else because
Well-
if someone thinks it looks cool and you don't,
And just be careful because if you keep thinking it looks ugly and then one day you like, oh, it kind of looks cool.
Kinda looks cool.
You're going to have to eat your words.
You're gonna be
because
stuck.
it's just use different words.
Yeah.
It doesn't look ugly.
Right.
It looks
Just
different.
boxy
or profound
or sharp or
like surprising.
Yeah, I know.
Because you had a good meme that was showing, what people thought cars were going to look like 50 years in the future.
From 50 years in the past.
Right.
Right.
And they look like this.
Right.
It's just that when the future happens, sometimes it happens fast.
Right.
The future just happened.
Right. And I think that's the thing that like truck design has become inbred. Right. It kind of was going in a direction and then it just kind of stayed there and it just kept kind of keep churning them out. Make sure it doesn't look too different. or
Just
else
tweak a
people
few little
just
things.
Keep adding
Put
the
a oh, you know what? Put a step on the back bumper.
Right. All of this stuff, there was hardly any innovation that happened whatsoever for decades and decades. You end up with 3 trucks, American trucks that look almost identical. And then basically anything that would have come out. I mean, there's 100 different designs that would have looked so incredibly different that would have blown everyone away.
But here's the big thing. The next day, we go back to the LA Auto Show, and it looked different.
Oh my goodness. It felt like a museum.
It felt like we were walking through a
Right.
museum.
I mean, our producer said that it looked like it was a museum, and I was like, "That's the word that I was looking for." You're walking around. There's just a sea of pickup trucks, and each pickup truck has a big engine outside of it, and it just looked like an exhibit in a museum of like, this is what engines used to look like. It was this big, complicated thing. It looked like some kind of steampunk kind of thing where you're just like, and this gear is that's important for this. You're just like, are you a crazy person? What is this?
Ford had a car on its side so you could see underneath it, and
it's
everything
so
underneath it is
busy.
well, first of all, like so much of it is heat shielding.
And it's so inefficient, right? You're like, here's where all the hot gas is going to run. This shiny bit is to protect the hot gas from your butt.
This is the tank full of flammable fuel that brings this line of flammable fuel to the front of the car where it explodes
And then the gas comes back, goes right by the super explodey fuel stuff. And then we also have to bring a big long shaft that brings the power
Right.
to these rear wheels because we couldn't put another explodey thing at the back of the car.
Right.
Because there's not enough room because we barely have enough room to fit everything. And that's why the person sitting in the center seat in the back is so uncomfortable.
They went down a road and had to keep making innovations off of that branch.
Right.
And no one ever did what Elon does, which is to go back to first
to
principles
go back
and
and
go,
to saw that branch
go,
off.
we don't
because-
need that branch.
Yeah. And he's currently sawing it off and everyone's going like, quick, build more branches away from the, like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. And so it's like, we're not trying to make fun of the engineers who work on those branches. They had no other choice. They're smart people. But you're working on the wrong branch. You're going in the wrong direction.
And so there were electric cars at the auto show.
But not every brand. I mean, you walk by Lincoln, you walk by Subaru, you walk by Honda, and there's no electric cars.
Right.
Some of them have like one hybrid
right.
with some green carpet around it.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah, here it is.
and then other car manufacturers have their electric way in the back, some of them behind a wall. And it's like,
why?
what?
Right. And then some of them had concepts that, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Like the
iNext?
The iNext, sure. But that one was
the
crazy.
Lexus.
No, the Daimler one, the Mercedes Benz.
What are you bothering to show that
What
for?
is that? A chitty chitty bang bang?
Right. I
mixed
mean,
with
you've already got the EQC, so just talk
Right.
about that.
Then they're like, oh, what if we made a concept that looked like a chitty chitty bang bang? Had a baby with a cheap a mixer.
well,
or
and you know
something.
what?
Like,
Just bring out your car from 83 or whatever, and be proud of it. That's
Right,
great.
right.
But don't start a new line of stuff that's not real. Like,
yeah.
why do car manufacturers just have a lot of money laying around they have to spend
Yes,
on this stuff?
yeah, I mean,
because
yeah.
you know what? You're going to need all the money you have if you want to stay alive.
Right. It was so evident. The closest one, I will be honest, the car company that really got it the closest was Porsche. And you wouldn't have expected me to say that.
Okay.
But Porsche put the most amount of their advertising budget
I
into
see.
the Taycan.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for instance, Kia, which has a smaller budget, I mean, at least they have a decent, like the Soul, which is a decent car, and
Sure.
and the Niro, it's just that you can't find them. Like, they should put your money, car companies, put your money into making a charging network and also making more electric cars. Like, that's what you should be putting your money
I
into.
know. Oh, I know. It was just so sad. It just really felt like a museum.
Well, and how much money are they spending on the LA Auto Show?
I know. And the funny thing was that Tesla was outside in a tent. They clearly spent a fraction of what all these other auto manufacturers spent. The tent had 3 cars in it: the Model X, the Model 3, and the Model
And they had a
S.
2-hour waiting list for people to take test rides.
If that doesn't tell you anything, there was practically nothing there.
Right.
It was just 3 cars in a tent outside the front, and they
Right.
still had a 2-hour waiting list to go on a test ride. And let me tell you, those test rides, or actually they're test drives, those test drives are going to sell more cars than practically the entire rest of the auto show, because that's the most innovative thing that was happening there.
Yep.
Was Tesla. And it just was freaky.
But you know what was fun about the auto show for me?
What?
Is that we were there with a bunch of our patrons
Oh, yes.
who were fun to hang out with, fun to talk to, and it just rejuvenated us again. It reminded me of like London, where we had a bunch of people who get it and
Right.
who want to spread the word. And that is what
And you're on
you
the
guys...
other end of the country.
Well, and
from
that's what
us.
you guys can do. Like right now with this Cybertruck, a lot of the press is negative. Oh, the windows. What you can do at Thanksgiving, if you're going to that, or at work, is talk about the positive aspects of the truck. You don't have to sell them the truck or anything like that, but just tell them your feedback on how you feel the truck could change things, because people need to hear some other thoughts besides these dumb, jalopnik media articles.
Right, and it's just a bunch of memes, right? They don't have to be visual memes necessarily, but just little brain memes of like, oh, Elon made a truck and it looks funny. Oh, Elon made a truck and he smashed a window. Like,
Oh, that's all I have in my brain now.
Right.
I'm going to think that blah, 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 blah.
like I don't know why everyone seems to be like that, where they're just like,
That truck, it looked funny.
why? Why is everyone so dumb like that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's so annoying. Like, just open your head a little bit and start thinking a little bit further. Take some steps further about like, wait, so it's an electric truck. What does that mean?
Right.
Oh, it means you can go 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds?
Well, and wait for he hasn't probably done with all the things he's going to talk about with this truck. He was probably so rushed. I mean, there's a whole water side that we haven't heard much
we
about.
don't know how deep it can go
Right.
in water.
Right.
Maybe it can just be a boat.
Right.
Maybe
Exactly.
that's why the signs, maybe that's why it has the vault and
Right.
stuff. Like, we don't know.
I mean, he did tweet out a lot to do with submarines, so.
Right. And I mean, we did see the Model 3 gets tested by basically getting dunk tanked.
Right.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for being supporters of this show.
Yeah.
Because you are more than just financial backers of the show. You are the lifeblood and the backbone of this whole channel. And
Yeah, we couldn't have gone to the Cybertruck event without you, and then we couldn't have gotten live stream of the event without you. So
Right.
thank you.
Thank you so much for that. You guys made that possible, and we're so thankful that you guys are here. But not just financially. You guys are our like support team. You guys make sure that we are, that we're honest. You make sure that we don't feel crazy, because we live in this world where everyone's trying to make us feel crazy about this Tesla stuff just because it's different, just because it's world changing.
Right.
And so, yeah, we really couldn't do it without you at all. Thank you so much for being our supporters. We're going to go back to the rest of the show.
It's our first special edition Tesla Time News, I think.
It is. Yeah, these are the only non-Cybertruck related stories that there were this week.
Practically,
So,
I know.
Lucky you got some of them. But honestly, there wasn't. This was the news.
Right.
Why talk about anything else?
Exactly. See you next week, guys.
Now you know.